and gentlemen, welcome back to OTS News. My name is Mean Marky T. Pile driving geeks since 1973. The biggest mark in the IWC. Tonight on SmackDown. SmackDown, Kevin Owens hosts another episode of the Kevin Owens Show with his guests, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Imagine this, folks. Imagine this. We are 4 weeks away from WrestleMania 37, and my good old buddy, Bruce, thinks it's best for Kevin Owens to be hosting a Kevin Owens show. And he has actually no scheduled match himself for the biggest show of the year. Now, I don't know what the hell is going on backstage inside the WWE Thunderdome, Bruce. But in my honest opinion, Kevin Owens is one of the most underutilized talents on the entire roster. You should be lucky that you have somebody like Kevin Owens on your roster. 4 weeks away from WrestleMania, you have him hosting a Kevin Owens show? What the blue hell is going on backstage, Bruce? Here's a suggestion. Let me come down to the Thunderdome and meet you face to face. I'll kick you so hard in the face, you're gonna look like a retarded version of Quagmire when I'm done with you. Or better yet, how about you come down to the new studio and we do this in a very professional manner, and I ask you these questions myself. Oh, that's right, you won't be able to make it because you're too busy sucking off Vince McMahon. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I carried myself in a very unprofessional manner. This is not what I usually do. I've taken an oath to be a very professional broadcaster. When I got into the business, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Tonight's drink specials are the EST Sour Cherry Ale and the Brodacious Bro Blueberry Ale. You guys can get these at the bar right now. And remember, please, tip your bartender. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back, right here on OTS News after this small musical commercial break.
Let's see it.
OTS News. My name is Mean Marky T. And what you just heard were the sweet sounds of White Bat Audio. That one was called Violence. JD from New York has installed some new video games, arcade games, inside of the venue, folks. The newest one being Android Attacks. This is where you will control an oversized android creature with blonde hair and a robe. Multicolored robes, of course. This is a take on Charlotte Flair and the burial of the women's division inside WWE. You will go and take this android creature through the biggest cities in the United States, and you will advance, eating people, destroying people, helicopters, tanks, taxis, police cars, boats, and trolleys along the way. Very reminiscent of how Charlotte Flair has buried every women's division that she has been a part of. This was installed last week, so make sure you guys get in on the action. Android Attacks now playing inside the venue. Last call at the bar, ladies and gentlemen. Come up and get your EST Sour Cherry Ales and your Brodacious Bro Blueberry Ales. The show is about to begin. This is your SmackDown post show with your host, JT from New York.
Bryan is gonna be in the main event of WrestleMania. We are live, man! Man, that video game, Android Attacks, sounds pretty damn good, bro. I just installed it in the venue about 6 days ago. It's a fantastic time. If you love burying women's divisions, Charlotte is your gal. Not here to talk about Charlotte, though. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns contract signing for Fastlane and the Universal title. Seems to me that Daniel Bryan's got a one-way ticket to WrestleMania. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks on the KO show. Little too much Nia Jax, Bruce. Apollo Crews and Biggie continue to just be fantastic. So great. And Chad Gable might possibly be on his way out of WWE. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about tonight's show. We're going to talk about all the news and rumors coming out of SmackDown. Because that's what I do, folks. This is your SmackDown post-show. Oh, yeah. Right here on Off the Script. What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on the Off the Script SmackDown post show. This is your post show for March 12th, 2021. I am your host, JD from New York. Man, I'm telling you, man, I can't wait to play that Android Attacks video game that I just installed inside the venue. Sounds so great, man. It's a take on that old school NES game. I don't know if you guys remember how many old school heads are in the chat. It's a take on the old school game Rampage, where you, I think, took like Godzilla and some lizard creature or whatever, and you climbed buildings and you ate people and you destroyed shit. And all it is a mash 'em, bash 'em, just fun time. And you gain points, and it's just awesome. It really is. I can't wait to actually play that. It doesn't really exist, but you guys will see it in a little bit. That's all I'm teasing, man. You guys will see Android Attacks in just a little bit. Plus all the drinks that are on the menu. It's coming. If everybody's wondering what the inside of the venue looks like, man, trust me, it's coming. I want to know what the inside of Bruce Pritchard's brain looks like, man. Jesus Christ. This show was a chore to get through tonight, man. A chore to get through. You know, I think I'm pretty confident nowadays about Daniel Bryan getting into the main event of WrestleMania. I know it was a thing that I pushed. It was a thing that I pushed for it to happen. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns was my preferred WrestleMania main event. I just think that's money. I don't think Edge is really needed. I think Edge, and I've mentioned this, I mention it again tomorrow. Edge would have been better served against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Edge and Drew McIntyre is a bigger match than Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre is absolutely nowhere near a main event WrestleMania match. That match will be on the undercard if I'm in charge of WWE. I pushed for Daniel Bryan to be in the main event of WrestleMania, and I stated this because I think Daniel Bryan's history with Roman Reigns is very WrestleMania worthy. Daniel Bryan was the one who pretty much took the throne away from Roman Reigns in the eyes of the fans. And I think that tells a greater story than whatever they could make believe come up with between Roman Reigns and Edge. Now, if the rumors are correct, and Vince McMahon did blow up the script, and Vince McMahon did rip up the script, and he just canceled all the plans for WrestleMania. If the rumors are indeed correct, which I do believe that they are, then we will see Daniel Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania against Edge and Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And they're clearly setting the stage for that to happen. This is not a standard one-on-one match between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. It's not going to be a situation where Daniel Bryan's going to lose and just fade away into obscurity. Daniel Bryan is not losing this match clean. If he does, then there's no reason for him to be included at WrestleMania. And there's really no other WrestleMania opponent for him right now outside of Roman Reigns and or Edge. So you're clearly not leaving Daniel Bryan off of WrestleMania's card. That would be absolutely criminal in every sense of the word. And they're pretty much, like I said, setting the stage for this. The main thing tonight was the contract signing. Daniel Bryan pretty much goaded Roman Reigns into signing that contract tonight. Kind of getting under his skin, and rightfully so. Roman Reigns should have every reason to fucking hate Daniel Bryan. Not just because of who he is right now, but what he has done. Daniel Bryan single-handedly made Roman Reigns live in purgatory for 6 years. Even when Daniel Bryan was retired, and he was not on the active roster as a full-time in-ring performer, Roman Reigns was still feeling the effects of Daniel Bryan. The Yes Movement ruined Daniel Bryan. The Yes Movement ruined by Daniel Bryan ruined Roman Reigns for 6 years. 6 years. Roman Reigns had to live with that. Never overcame the Yes Movement. So Roman Reigns has every reason to hate Daniel Bryan. But the stage is being set. Now we got an enforcer. Je Uso lobbied to be the enforcer. He wants this match called right down the middle, which we all know is not going to happen. So then we get Edge coming out in the main event, and he is now telling Adam Pearce, listen, you want this thing called right down the middle? I challenge Je Uso to a match next week. For the first time in 9 years, I'll be wrestling on SmackDown. And the winner of this match is the special guest enforcer for the Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan match at Fastlane for the Universal title. We all know what's going to happen there. Edge is certainly going to beat Je Uso. Is Edge going to be the one to put Daniel Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania? He doesn't want him there. He's going to do whatever he can and say whatever he has to do to tell Daniel Bryan that he doesn't think he believes he belongs there. Edge is going to fuck himself over. Edge is going to do something at Fastlane that gets Bryan into the main event. I love it. This is awesome. We're headed for a triple threat match for the Universal title, folks. Whether that means Daniel Bryan wins the Universal title or Edge wins the Universal title, Roman Reigns will be a non-factor in the outcome here. Roman Reigns cannot take a pin. Roman Reigns should not be defeated in any sense of the word. It goes against the head of the table gimmick. It goes against the tribal chief gimmick. Roman Reigns has been the best thing on WWE television. Thus, he should not lose. But if it's a triple threat match, I'm a little bit more open to Roman Reigns losing because he won't be taking the pinfall. Daniel Bryan wins. If Edge wins, fine. The crowd can be sent home happy from WrestleMania. As long as Roman Reigns is not pinned at WrestleMania, I am fine with it. Does it make the match better with Daniel Bryan included? Of course it does. Of course it does. I said this last week. This is a little bit of everything. You're getting a little bit of everything in all these different scenarios. You should be happy with it. The Edge fans, you should be happy with it. You guys in the main event. Us Daniel Bryan guys, our guys in the main event of WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, the best thing on TV right now. He's in the main event as the champion. We got a little bit of everything, man. There's a little bit of everything for everybody in this main event at WrestleMania. It's awesome. I can't see how anybody is against this. This is the legit only thing right now. This is legitimately the only thing right now that feels WrestleMania. Out of all the hours of WWE programming, this is the only thing that feels legitimately like WrestleMania. It's pretty sad, 4 weeks to go, and WWE has nothing on this show that feels like WrestleMania. Even Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair doesn't feel like WrestleMania, and I know it's not their fault. I know it's not their fault. This doesn't feel like WrestleMania to me. WWE has taken something that is so exciting, with the utmost potential to be exciting, and they've ruined it. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler and Reginald. Who gives a shit? Like, what are you doing here? You're masking everything that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair are because you got to push Reginald into the feud. You got to have Nia and Shayna Baszler in the feud. Nobody wants to see that 4 weeks to go before WrestleMania. We're 4 weeks away from WrestleMania, and I don't feel there's any issue there between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair because you booked this fucking stupid tag team title match on Fastlane. Granted, that might lead to them kind of imploding, but doesn't really necessarily tell me the story of Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. By the time we actually get to Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, there'll only be 2 weeks left to go till WrestleMania. That's not enough time for Bianca Belair to warrant a SmackDown Women's Championship. That's why I said Sasha Banks should win the match at WrestleMania. Other than that, there's really nothing that happened on this show tonight. Biggie and Apollo was really good stuff, but they've been really good. It's good to see Biggie back. Apollo Crews has been legitimately the best thing on this show outside of Roman Reigns. And whoever's in charge of his heel turn, not Bruce, gotta be Paul Heyman. Whoever's working with Apollo Crews on his heel turn, he looks fucking unbelievable. And that's another match I'm looking forward to at WrestleMania. That actually feels WrestleMania worthy as well. Apollo Crews versus Biggie for the Intercontinental Championship. That's the first time in a very long time the Intercontinental Championship has a nice little spotlight on it at WrestleMania. That should be great. There should be more situations like that for WrestleMania, but with the way the current card looks, or doesn't look, depending on who you listen to, whether it's Ringside News or WrestleVotes, one of them says, WrestleVotes says the WrestleMania card is not finalized. I absolutely believe WrestleVotes when they say that. I also believe Ringside News that says that the WrestleMania card is indeed finalized and was finalized as of last week. Now, things can clearly change, but I'm not giving WWE the benefit of the doubt to finalize anything. Nothing is finalized until said performers walk out through the curtain. And even then, the outcome is not really finalized because Vince McMahon can call an audible. This WrestleMania season does not feel like WrestleMania season whatsoever. Seriously. So we're going to go over what happened on the show tonight, and we are going to go over news on Chad Gable. Chad Gable, apparently, according to one of the members of FTR, Dax Harwood, Chad Gable may have 2 months left to go before he is legitimately a free agent. And I know a lot of people are talking about Andrade. I mentioned Andrade in a tweet today, not knowing that he had asked for his release, and the tweet blew up. Over 1,600 likes on my tweet for Andrade. And I just did not mention Andrade. I mentioned Andrade. I mentioned Aleister Black. I mentioned Ricochet. I mentioned Keith Lee. I mentioned Angel Garza. Imagine WWE having 5 guys like that on your roster, and none of them are in major WrestleMania programs. None of them are on TV. All of them are sitting in catering. Can you imagine that? A WWE in 2021 where you got 5 guys like that not on the television programs. And Andrade apparently asked for his release. I guess we'll talk about it when we get on with the show, but a lot of people wondering what Andrade's next move is going to be. He clearly asked for his release. I mean, if you think WWE is going to grant this guy his release, you guys got to be out of your fucking mind. He ain't going nowhere. He's in prison. Now he's just opened Pandora's box for WWE to either A, bury him, which I know that they won't because they've already buried him beyond recognition, or to keep him in the back away from everybody so that his name value drops every single week. They're not going to grant him his release. They're not going to grant him a move back to NXT. He's dead. The Andrade Cien Almas character on television is dead. It is a fucking crime against wrestling humanity that you have a legit main event guy in Andrade, whether you like him or not. He's probably better than your favorite pro wrestler in the ring. Seriously. He's probably better than your current favorite pro wrestler in the ring. A legit main event guy that could go anywhere else and be a megastar. And WWE's got this guy sitting in catering, waiting for Titus's baked green beans. It's unreal. We're going to go over it all tonight. It's going to be a good night, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, man. Twitter, Instagram, at JDfromNY206. Make sure you guys go and do that for me. I would really, really appreciate it. If you missed any of the content on the channel, links are down below in the description of this very video. Go and check all that stuff out. If you missed my Monday Night Raw podcast, great stuff there talking about how Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania is going to line up. We had the AEW Dynamite review, which was unreal on Wednesday. Jesse and I killed it. 2.5 hours of audio content going over everything post-Revolution. We had a great night as well, hanging out with everybody there. Go and check that out. And then off the script tomorrow, episode 368. We talk about Andrade. We talk about the NXT terrible creative that happened this week with the Women's Tag Team Championships. Raquel Gonzalez getting a shot out of Io Shirai for absolutely no reason. And then the two-night takeover that WWE is now giving us on Wednesday and Thursday of WrestleMania week. A two-night takeover and Women's Tag Team Championships are not needed whatsoever. Nice little rant on tomorrow's podcast on pretty much all that I just mentioned. It's going to be a good one. Also, if you guys want to support the show, patreon.com/JDfromNY206. That is patreon.com/JDfromNY206. If you guys want to go and get your t-shirts, bonfire.com is the exclusive home of Off the Scripts. And tonight's show is sponsored by my great friends over at Blue Chew. BlueChew.com. You guys are going to use code JD at checkout, and you're going to save pretty much every dime in your pocket, man. You're going to get a free sample of Blue Chew. That's BlueChew.com. You guys are going to use code JD at checkout. All you have to do is pay the shipping and handling. Awesome stuff there. Let's start with the SmackDown news and rumors, man. Being that we got a Chad Gable appearance in the opening match, I might as well talk about this little doozy of a news story. Chad Gable could be on his way out of WWE. The talk in the last couple of weeks in wrestling is AEW signing Paul White and AEW signing Christian Cage, just weeks after they both appeared on WWE television. Christian showed up in the Royal Rumble. Paul White, Big Show, showed up on Legends Night. He was bullied by Randy Orton. And it looks like there's another WWE star that could be a free agent in the next couple of months. Dax Harwood of FTR, the greatest tag team on the planet right now, in my honest opinion. Dax Harwood quote tweeted Chad Gable on Twitter after Gable named Otis his number one guy. Now, Gable and Otis are in a SmackDown storyline with the Mysterios, and it looks like they could be lined up for a potential WrestleMania match at the SmackDown tag team titles in some multi-man fashion, multi-team fashion. But in real life, they are legitimately best friends in real life. Harwood's tweet indicated that Gable could be on his way out of WWE. Harwood tweeted, "Wait, what's all this number one talk? I know you're not allowed to respond to me publicly for about 2 more months, but come on, man. He's your number one?" End quote. Harwood also suggested that an FTR versus American Alpha match could be a possibility. He tweeted, "Maybe we should run this one back soon." That's the one that got my eyebrows raised. Oh, really? FTR versus American Alpha. Meaning what? Gable and Jordan's contract could be up at the same time? I don't know. WWE has yet to clear Jason Jordan on an in-ring return. The last that I read, he was actually trying to find his way back into the ring, looking to make a comeback. They broke that tag team up way too soon. I don't know if you guys were a fan of American Alpha, but their in-ring work was fucking phenomenal together. You don't see many tag teams like that come around, man. That was a special tag team. And of course, WWE ended up breaking them up. They took Chad Gable away from something that was working so right for him, took him away from Jason Jordan, ended up putting Jason Jordan with Seth Rollins, and they won the tag team championships on Monday Night Raw. I don't understand why WWE takes legitimate right tag teams, breaks them up, only to put those members in other tag teams. You never get it right compared to the first time. So, as we know, the Revival, FTR, whatever you want to call them, and American Alpha had excellent matches while they were in NXT. Things obviously became a lot worse as they both got promoted or demoted to the main roster. Jason Jordan now is a producer backstage, and for what it's worth, people are in the know with Jason Jordan. They believe that he will wrestle again someday, but it might have to be away from WWE. I know what everybody feels about this situation. It's the same thing that we feel when we hear about Andrade and about Aleister Black and about Ricochet and about Keith Lee, guys like that. Chad Gable needs to look at this situation. If this is indeed legit, I don't see why Dax Harwood would be lying. I don't see why he would lie about this situation. I mean, there's got to be some purpose to why he said what he said in that manner. Chad Gable's a free agent. I think he needs to look long and hard about what his next career move is. There are a lot of people online and in this industry that look at Chad Gable as one of the biggest underutilized guys in the industry. WWE finds no value in Chad Gable. All he has to do is look at what he's done in WWE. Not to say that there were not glimmers of hope here and there, but they never went all the way with Chad Gable. I mean, I personally would leave WWE just based on the fucking Shorty G shit in itself. That's a fucking embarrassment. But they call this guy up to the main roster. American Alpha wins the SmackDown Tag Team titles right out of the gate. Then they break them up. He floats around. He teams with Shelton Benjamin on and off. Was never right. He floated in nothing. He sat around and was wasting the prime years of his fucking career to sit in catering while WWE said to themselves, he's too small. He's never gonna be anything. Well, he was certainly something in a fucking tag team. Why did you break that up? Why did you get rid of that? Something that you need. Tag teams. Then Jason Jordan goes on to win Monday Night Raw tag team titles. They move him off SmackDown, move him to Monday Night Raw. He becomes a singles guy. Excellent pro wrestler. Excellent pro wrestler. Chad Gable still doing nothing. All the way, fast forward all the way to the very last King of the Ring, where Chad Gable was in the King of the Ring as Chad Gable. And he went to the finals in the King of the Ring. And he had a great fucking match with Baron Corbin. This was before King Corbin was a thing. He brought Baron Corbin to the best match of his career. Awesome. If anybody watched me during that tournament, I praised Baron Corbin for his in-ring work in that tournament. He looked great in that tournament. That's the way Chad Gable should have been booked. Scrappy, come from behind, never give up, never die attitude babyface. They had it right there. After that tournament, they pushed him for a little bit. They hit the rematch with Corbin again. Nothing ever happened. They went nowhere with Chad Gable. Then he disappears. And then they start making fun of his height, making fun about how small he is, making fun of how he's not going to go anywhere and how he was always belittled because of his height. And he just gave this forced propaganda bullshit promo about overcoming whatever people say, and he's proud of who he is, and yada, yada, yada. And then they rename him Shorty G. And that's where his career just completely was buried at that point. Nobody's ever going to be at the top of the mountain in WWE. Nobody's going to be in the middle of the mountain in WWE with the name of Shorty fucking G. Give me a break. So then he shed the gimmick about a year and a half, 2 years later, probably about a year and a half. And he went back to Chad Gable. And he's still not doing anything on SmackDown. I mean, he's fucking teaming with Otis, the Alpha Academy. That just speaks to me as, hey, he's doing something. He's on TV. It fills minutes on TV. Whatever. But then they put Chad Gable in another tag team. They put Otis in another tag team. They both came from original great tag teams, only to find themselves paired with each other now. A lot worse. Chad Gable needs to look at the trajectory of his WWE run and say to himself, do I really belong here? Are they really going to be utilizing me the way that I want? Am I being used to my maximum potential? Do I really want to eat catering for the rest of my life? Do I want to be known as a nobody, a mid-card? No. He doesn't want to be known as that. That's why Andrade asked for his release today. Andrade knows what he's worth. Andrade knows he's wasting the prime years of his career while WWE plays God and deems him not good enough. Who the fuck are you to deem anybody not good enough? Like Bruce Pritchard is the end-all be-all of, hey man, you're not good enough. Vince McMahon, a 74-year-old fucking out-of-touch, senile fuck, is the end-all be-all. No! WWE may be the place that everybody wants to work, but that's becoming less and less and less of a thing. More and more people are staying away from WWE. You'll soon find out how things work. I know. I don't even work there. All you got to do is look. All you got to do is analyze. And all you got to do is assess the situation. Andrade is not happy. Aleister Black. How the fuck do you fuck him up? How do you fuck Aleister Black up? It's unreal. WWE can't take these guys and move them back down to NXT. There's got to be some value in them for Triple H to use. They can't find value in these guys to help NXT on Wednesday nights to potentially gain the ratings in the war against AEW? Can't be. Oh, that's right. They won't move them back to NXT because if Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard move all these guys back down to NXT, they know Triple H is going to take them, rehabilitate them, build them back up, and make them better versions of themselves compared to their earlier versions. Because that's what drives Triple H. Triple H sees the way that they're booking these guys. There's nothing he can do about it. The fuck is he going to do? He's just like them. He means nothing to Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon. That's not his problem on the main roster. There's not much he can say or do. If the main roster moved Andrade and Black and Gable and all these guys back down to NXT where obviously they thrive, that would be Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon admitting failure. Moving Keith Lee back down to NXT, moving a Ricochet back down to NXT, moving a Garza back down to NXT where he was fucking on top of his game too. That would be Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard admitting failure. Nobody is going to have that happen. So what are they doing? Sit out your contract, be a good little soldier, and when your contract's up, fuck them. Get out of there. It's exactly what Andrade is going to do. I believe he asked for his release and it got denied. Of course it did. Aleister Black, I don't know if he was quietly released from the WWE. That would be an absolute crime for them to release Aleister Black. Guy turned into a fucking pirate. They turned this motherfucker into a goddamn pirate, man. They turned him into Long John Silver. This guy was shilling fucking frozen fish sticks down aisle 8 at Stop and Shop. That's what they thought of Aleister Black. Took his entrance away, took his ring attire away, took his fucking music away. The guy was basically left with nothing. They left him naked in the middle of the fucking street. And they only buried him the way that they did because they're getting back at Zelina Vega. She wanted to open up a fucking Twitch account. She wanted to open up an OnlyFans account after Vince McMahon closed all that shit down. You got fired. Can't take it out on Zelina Vega anymore. So what are you going to do? Take it out on Aleister Black. Awful. Chad Gable and all these guys really need to look at themselves. Is the money worth it? No, it's not. You are good enough to go somewhere else and make just enough money. Possibly more money than if you stayed with WWE. WWE is going to offer these guys contracts when their contracts are up that are going to be worth more than what they were previously making. But that's not WWE coming to their senses. Hey, man, we don't want you to go. We want to do something with you. We value you and your potential. No, that's WWE trying to keep you suppressed so that you don't go anywhere else. They don't want you to succeed. Bruce and Vince McMahon, they don't want you to succeed. You're nothing to them. WWE takes great pleasure in taking all of these hot prospects from the indies and potentially building them up from the ground up, only to bury them because they look down on the indies and they look down on us as fans. WWE, Vince and Bruce and WWE's management, they look down on us and they take great pleasure in seeing us bitch and complain. All of our indie darlings never had a chance to make it in WWE. You think that they're here now, that they're going to have a shot? They don't have a shot unless Bruce Pritchard says they have a shot. They take great pleasure in this shit, man. That's the reality of the situation. Some of you might be thinking I'm talking out my ass, man. This is exactly how it is. This is why all the guys that I have become acquainted with on the indies, working at Hog, I tell them the same thing, man. I would tell them the same exact thing. Do not look at WWE as your first and only. You look at an Impact, you look at an MLW, you look at an AEW, you look at New Japan. You go and build your body of work, your resume, because you are the one that is in control of your own destiny. Do not give these people the power to put you in a situation like all these guys that I'm mentioning here right now. And this is from an outsider's perspective, a fan's perspective, looking in. I'm not some fucking casual that's going to bypass this situation and look at it, whatever. There'll be another guy like Chad Gable somewhere down the line. No. You got a guy like Chad Gable and a talent like Chad Gable, then you should be fucking honored to have somebody like that on your roster. How you're not having fun with this guy and the ability that he possesses? I mean, do you even love the sport that you're in? Do you love the industry that you work for? These guys got a lot of self-reflection to do. And I'd say this to anybody, like I just said, man. The one thing that I hate is to see talent wasted. You know how much talent is wasted on this show? Do you know how fearful I am watching NXT every single fucking week? And I see the Johnny Garganos, and I see the Adam Coles, and I see the Dexter Loomises, and I see the Cameron Grimes. I see all these women there that have breakout potential, but I know they won't get pushed because they're not as pretty as Alexa Bliss, or they're not as tall as Charlotte Flair, or they're not plastic. The one thing I hate is to see talent fucking wasted. You don't appreciate the men and women that are breaking their fucking back for you in this company. And nobody complains that we see the same shit every single week. These shows are mirror images of themselves every single week. It is legitimately a fucking rerun every single week. How do you have 3 hours of Monday Night Raw and we have the same show every single Monday? How? How do we have 2 hours of SmackDown and we see the same show every single week? There may be a thing tweaked here or something changed there, but it's nothing but rematches. It's the same thing. You got the deepest roster, the most talented roster in the entire fucking world, and this is what you're doing? You got the deepest roster that you've ever had, and WrestleMania has one match confirmed. 4 weeks to go. Does anybody find an issue with that? Does nobody care that Andrade, Black, Keith Lee, Ricochet, Garza, Andrade, Chad Gable, guys like that? AJ Styles doesn't even have a fucking WrestleMania match yet. No, but Bad Bunny's got WrestleMania plans. Braun Strowman has WrestleMania plans. Shane McMahon has WrestleMania plans over AJ Styles. Let that sink in. Where's the priority in WWE? They legitimately take everything for granted. Chad Gable needs to be out. If Dax Harwood released some factual information here publicly, and he is done in 2 months, Chad Gable needs to go call up Dax, get Tony Khan's number, and that's the type of guy that Tony Khan needs to save his money for. And the Andrades, and the Aleister Blacks, and the Keith Lees. Those are the guys that Tony Khan needs on Wednesday night. That is the future of pro wrestling. That's the alternative. Clearly, WWE doesn't want an alternative. Clearly, WWE wants nothing. Vince McMahon wants what Vince McMahon wants. WWE has the alternative right underneath their fucking fingertips. They don't want it. So Tony Khan needs to sign the alternative and bring that alternative to Wednesday night. Simple. They will make his show better. WWE could be using him to make their shows better, but they clearly don't give a shit about the talent that they have. That's the type of guy, those are the types of guys that Tony Khan needs to save his money for. Not the Christians, not the big shows. You need to build new household names. The old household names, they only get so far. You'll walk into the house, you'll sit down on the couch, you maybe go to the refrigerator and get a nice cold beverage. After that, nobody gives a shit anymore. After one drink, I want something else. We've been there, done that. Those guys aren't impact players. The guys that I mentioned are. With 4 of them being legit main event world title guys. And if you don't think so, Jesus Christ, I'm glad you're not booking any indie promotions or have an eye for talent. Chad Gable needs to be out. Let's run through the top of this show, man. Edge started off SmackDown, made his in-ring entrance. Cole says he's looking to become a 12-time world champion at WrestleMania. He said he could be facing Roman Reigns. He could be facing Daniel Bryan. Edge says it's a big-time contract signing tonight. Bryan, Reigns. But he wants to address something. He said people have had my name falling out of their faces. He addressed Reigns first. He said he picked up on something that seemed to fly over people's heads because Reigns and Paul Heyman are great spin doctors. He said they want him to acknowledge him as the head of the table. He said Reigns got played. He said that brings him to Bryan, who said last week he deserves the WrestleMania main event more than him. He said Bryan said he wrestled more often in recent months and he loves what he does more. He said he wanted to remind him of who he is. He said when Bryan was spending years wrestling once a week while he was working many nights a week, and he listed big names like The Undertaker and John Cena and Batista and Mick Foley and Terry Funk, yada, yada, yada. He said he is back, not because he has to be, because he loves it. He said now he has to wait to see what happens at Fastlane to see who he will face at WrestleMania. Out comes Daniel Bryan. Bryan came out to the ring. Bryan said, you talk about Roman Reigns getting sucked in. I think you got sucked in. He said he would love, or he would have thought, that he was the ultimate opportunist. He said he would have thought as the ultimate opportunist, he would have appreciated him going into business for himself. He said he wanted to set the record straight. He said he has an infinite amount of respect for all he has accomplished. He said he sees how hard he's worked at it and how much he loves it. He said when he wanted to challenge Reigns for the WWE title, it wasn't about Edge. He said he decided he was going to give everything he's got in case this turns out to be his last WrestleMania. That's a nice little nugget of information there, folks. When Daniel Bryan starts talking about potentially this being his last WrestleMania, he will be in the last match at WrestleMania in 2021 with both Roman Reigns and Edge. You're looking at a triple threat match, folks. I hope you know that. He told Edge, you've got your spot in the main event of WrestleMania, so this is not about you. He then said he went into business for himself last week because he has to win at Fastlane to get to WrestleMania because this potentially might be his last ever WrestleMania. So Edge then took a dig at Bryan's finger quotes, air quotes. He said, listen, I won the Royal Rumble. I deserve to be there. Whereas Bryan already lost to Roman Reigns. I know the Elimination Chamber situation was not ideal. The circumstances weren't great. But he said, a win is a win. Roman beat you. He said he respects Bryan, but he is disappointed with how he handled it. He said he is better than this, but he's not better than him. You know, I don't know what anybody thinks about this. Now, granted, I'm happy that Bryan and Edge are in this, and we are potentially talking about a triple threat match. But I'm not really understanding why Edge is upset with Daniel Bryan. What exactly is Edge upset about? There's a fucking pay-per-view 2 weeks before WrestleMania called Fastlane. You got your match at WrestleMania. Why does it bother you who is wrestling at Fastlane? You are already where others want to be. You're in the main event of WrestleMania. So I don't really understand why Edge is upset here. Who gives a shit who you wrestle? You're in the main event fighting for the Universal title anyway. No matter if it's Reigns or Bryan. The other reason I'm not really sure why Edge is upset is he's claiming that he doesn't like the way Daniel Bryan went about this and handled it. This is coming from the same guy, by the way, who for years called himself the rated R superstar and the ultimate opportunist. A guy who won his first major WWE championship by cashing in a Money in the Bank briefcase after somebody wrestled and won an elimination chamber match to retain the WWE championship, who was a bloody John Cena. But Edge is upset that Daniel Bryan went about this in the way that he did. I don't know if Edge is a complete blithering idiot or Bruce Pritchard forgot everything that Edge was because he was out for 9 years and sent him out there to sound like a fucking idiot. None of this made sense. He's upset that Daniel Bryan went about the situation the way that he did. This is Daniel Bryan's potential last WrestleMania. I don't know why we didn't get the answer to that statement. But if Daniel Bryan is claiming that this could potentially be his last shot at WrestleMania, you let the motherfucker have his last shot at WrestleMania. I don't know why Edge is upset here. But I'm not going to be upset. I'm just pointing out the logic gaps in the writing. But I'm not going to be upset. We're headed for a triple threat match. Edge, Bryan, Reigns. Sounds like a WrestleMania main event to me. Take my money. Probably the only thing worth anything on this show so far. WrestleMania, that is. Street Profits made their ring entrance. Dominic and Rey Mysterio. Booyaka, booyaka. 619. Booyaka, booyaka. Rey Mysterio. We got those two teams teaming up against Chad Gable, Otis, Bobby Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. Now, folks, this was an okay 8-man tag. Action was fine. I had no problem with it whatsoever. But I have to make something very apparent here. Why was Chad Gable and Otis on the same team as Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode? Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Otis in a 6-month storyline where Dolph Ziggler stole his precious peach, Mandy Rose, and they made this guy a living hell, and Dolph Ziggler took Sonya Deville away from Mandy Rose? Why on fucking earth would Otis even team with Dolph Ziggler? I don't really understand this. Did they explain why they were a tag team? Was there an explanation via Michael Cole or Corey Graves about this situation? Was anything in the past brought up about both of these guys? Oh, that's right. Bruce forgot. Bruce is Vince McMahon 2.0. Bruce also has oncoming Alzheimer's. Oh, that's right. So let me get this straight. Otis teamed with Dolph Ziggler. No explanation was made. And the only reason why they were a tag team was because both of them are bad guys. Sounds about right. Sounds about typical WWE 101 on SmackDown. So we got a tag team match here. This was pretty decent stuff, but it really gives you a clear indication as to where they're going with the WrestleMania match. Now, I believe we may be getting Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode versus the Street Profits at Fastlane. I don't know why they wouldn't book that match at Fastlane. I mean, Montez Ford tonight pinned one of the tag team champions. I believe it was Bobby Roode. There you go, another set of tag team champions losing on weekly television. So, we got that match potentially at Fastlane, but this overall match gives you a glimpse as to where they're going with the tag team title match at WrestleMania. I guarantee you this tag team title match at WrestleMania is going to be a fatal four-way tag team title match. You're gonna see a match with all four of these teams. Chad Gable and Otis have wins over Dominic and Rey Mysterio in back-to-back weeks. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode are the champions. Will they be champions going into WrestleMania? Probably. I could see the title switch happening at WrestleMania to give the babyface team the big victory at WrestleMania. Then you got Dominic and Rey Mysterio, father and son tag team. That's something that Rey Mysterio has wanted. He wanted to be a team with his son to go after the tag team championships. And then obviously you got the Street Profits, who will or may not be tag team champions going into WrestleMania. So we don't know yet. So your SmackDown Tag Team Championship match could potentially be all four of these teams, two of which are not even really tag teams. They're not real tag teams. Dominic and Rey Mysterio are not they're not a tag team. Yes, they're father and son, but that doesn't make them a legit tag team. They didn't come in as a tag team. You can't just make them a tag team because they're both Mysterios. Chad Gable and Otis, they're not a real tag team. So we're right back to square one. If this match is exactly how I'm laying it out for you at WrestleMania, who wins the match and where do they go from here? If the Street Profits win the titles at WrestleMania, where do they go and who is their next opponent? Is WWE going to call up another tag team to SmackDown? Are we going to get a reshuffling of tag teams from Monday Night Raw to SmackDown? I doubt it. This is why I really don't understand that I made a big deal about WrestleMania not feeling like WrestleMania the past several months. All WWE had to do, and I really don't understand why the women's tag team championships and the rules for those tag team championships differ from the men. Why do we have two sets of tag team championships on the main roster? Why do we need two divisions? All we need is one universal set of tag team championships. All you need is new WWE tag team champions. That's it. You need new championship belts. One set of tag team championships. That's it. No Raw, no SmackDown. Merge the fucking divisions or give me one set of tag team championships for both shows. Champions should either float between both of the shows like the women do, or you merge the fucking divisions and all the teams can be spread evenly across all shows on Monday and Friday. But no, we got this. And then we got, it's actually worse on Monday. They got Retribution, the Lucha House Party, Miz and Morrison, who, Jesus Christ, I mean, they got to get Morrison away from Miz. Lucha House Party, Retribution, Miz and Morrison, The New Day, and The Hurt Business. And they're giving us a tag team title match on Monday. And then we'll probably get the same match at Fastlane. And what happens at WrestleMania? Tag team wrestling in WWE is quite pathetic. It really is. So Ziggler landed a big standing drop kick to Montez Ford. Ziggler applied a sleeper from behind afterwards. Ford dropped to the mat. He powered up, made a babyface comeback. He tagged in Dawkins. Roode was distracting the referee. Ziggler dragged Ford back to the corner. Graves says it was tag team strategy by the champions, executed perfectly. Ford avoided a charging Otis. Gable tagged in, went for a suplex. Ford flipped out of it, and then dove over Gable to make the hot tag to Booyaka, Booyaka, Rey Mysterio. Rey rallied and scored a near fall on Gable. And we got a big DDT broken up by Otis. Otis picked up Dominic. Rey broke it up with the flying senton. Roode tagged in, surprised Rey with a spine buster. Ford broke up the cover. All 8 guys in the ring now. Rey and Dominic hit double 619s. Ray springboard dove onto Otis at ringside. Ford landed a twisting frog splash on Roode for the win. And Bobby Roode, as tag team champion, suffers a clean pinfall loss on SmackDown. Michael Cole on commentary. This gotta put the Street Profits in contention for a tag team title shot. Yes, because every time the fucking tag team champions need an opponent, one of them's gotta go down in a loss in some way, shape, or form. Awful. Dominic was quite sloppy here with Bobby Roode. There was a slight botch on the ropes with that big around the world DDT. He almost fucking killed Bobby Roode on that DDT, planted him really hard, face first into the mat, but he recovered nicely. Other than that, fun 8-man tag. I just, A, don't get a sense that it's WrestleMania, and B, I don't care about any of these teams. There's no way you could possibly tell me that you care about any of these teams on SmackDown. The tag team champions are so worthless that this is absolutely one of the most irrelevant matches that you could possibly book on WrestleMania. Nobody cares. Backstage, Je Uso was walking up to Roman Reigns' dressing room. He wanted to talk to Roman Reigns. Heyman nervously asked if Jay has talked to him lately. Heyman brought up that he tapped out last week. Jay said he had other things to do, so he'd go do them and then come back. Heyman said maybe that would be best and he'd be happy to see him by then. So clearly Roman Reigns is upset that Je Uso lost the steel cage match to Daniel Bryan last week and right now doesn't want to see anybody, especially Je Uso. Kayla Braxton interviewed Seth Rollins backstage. We saw a clip of Cesaro giving Seth the giant swing. Seth asked why they are still talking about this. He said he wanted to help Cesaro, who has great potential, but hasn't achieved what he has achieved. He says he's been mocked all week on social media, so he's done with Cesaro. He said Cesaro is the biggest waste of potential in WWE. It's exactly what Bruce Pritchard says. Well, the fans say, but Bruce Pritchard doesn't give a shit. Braxton then informed Seth that Murphy had a rematch with Cesaro tonight. It was news to Seth, and he gave expressions of big interest towards this match between Buddy Murphy and Cesaro. So it looks like we are getting Cesaro and Seth possibly at WrestleMania. That would be great. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I'll explain why I think that is happening at WrestleMania and not immediately like everybody is insinuating. Not at Fastlane, not on SmackDown. It needs to happen at WrestleMania. Simple. So we got Nia Jax and Reginald. We got a skit of Nia Jax inside a men's clothing store shopping for suits. So she took Reginald on a shopping spree. Baszler was standing behind them, and she was shown sitting down on her phone, rolling her eyes at them. She was in her leather jacket, looking all badass, looking very NXT-like. She told him he can have whatever he wants in this clothing store. Reginald showed off various suits as Baszler acted very bored. Baszler came off here like I come off when I'm watching Monday Night Raw on Monday. And she checked out Reginald's ass, did Nia. In the new pants that he was wearing, she slapped his ass. She said, "Come to mama." He backflipped into her lap. There was romantic music playing. Reginald asked, "What could I possibly do to repay you?" Jax got this very flirtatious look in her eyes, signifying that she had an idea in mind. You know, my brother was over the house today, Legionary, Frank, and I felt embarrassed about watching this segment with him sitting on the couch right next to me. This was awful. This was absolutely fucking awful. I found none of this funny. I'm not invested in this Reginald pairing with Nia Jax. I didn't like Reginald to begin with. Now he's even worse with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler needs to run as fast as she can away from this fucking group. This is bringing her down several notches. This is terrible. This was one of the worst segments of the entire year. Don't believe me? Go back and watch. Cesaro versus Buddy Murphy. This was a rematch from last week, folks. They went 4 minutes last week. They went half that this week. 2 minutes. DQ. Imagine that. Buddy Murphy and Cesaro in a ring, and they get 2 minutes, and it ends in a DQ. Somebody out here hates professional wrestling, folks. I'll give you an idea about who that is. Murphy was in the ring. Seth came out. They got a little back and forth. Cesaro began the Cesaro swing. Seth ran down to the ring, and he broke the Cesaro swing up. That was it. Seth attacked Cesaro. And Seth was yelling at Cesaro, "You think you're at my level? Stand up, you coward." Cesaro stood up, and then Seth kicked him down, delivered the curb stomp. Seth told him that he will never be at his level. He grabbed the steel chair and said he was embarrassed twice by Cesaro. He wedged the steel chair around his neck and head and yelled again, "You're not at my level, and you never will be. I'll make sure of it." So we got all these officials and referees coming to the ring, and they covered Cesaro up. Jamie Noble was there. He put a stop to it all. He stepped in front of Seth Rollins after he was about to deliver another curb stomp on Cesaro with the steel chair wrapped around his neck. Seth then retreated up the stage as the referees were taking care of Cesaro in the ring. They showed Seth walking through Gorilla. They showed him walking through the curtain, and right there as he walked to the back, he came face to face with Shinsuke Nakamura. We're getting Seth and Cesaro at WrestleMania, folks. That's another great match on the card. That's an undercard WrestleMania match. A lot of people were wondering that Cesaro was probably going to get Seth Rollins at Fastlane. I thank God we may be looking at something different now. Shinsuke Nakamura, yes, he should be at WrestleMania as well, but he hasn't been booked up in a prominent way to even feature him on the card outside of the traditional Battle Royal. Cesaro has been on a winning streak, and he's got some consistency and momentum behind him. He belongs in a WrestleMania marquee match more than Nakamura does. Nakamura's role this year, sadly, will be to get Seth Rollins to Cesaro at WrestleMania. So you're probably looking at Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura in the next week to be built up for Fastlane. I am okay with that. Why would you want Cesaro and Seth Rollins at Fastlane only for them to do it again 2 weeks later at WrestleMania? You know Seth Rollins is back for the first time since he went away. He hasn't really had a match yet outside of being in the Royal Rumble. Seth is not losing his first match back. If Seth versus Cesaro was happening at Fastlane, Seth more than likely would win. Then you're going to do the match again at WrestleMania 2 weeks later, and Cesaro more than likely would beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And then you enter the 50-50 booking realm. Nobody gets over then. Seth should look strong, and Cesaro should look strong. Who needs it more? Seth is kind of bulletproof right now. He can take a loss without it damaging him. Cesaro can't lose. Cesaro has lost many a year. He's been looked at as a loser by creative. This is his year to right the ship. This is his first major singles WrestleMania match in quite a long time. I don't think he's ever had one. Not that I remember. He won the Battle Royal, but who gives a shit about that? This is a major WrestleMania moment for Cesaro. I think he needs the win more than Seth Rollins does. We don't need to start booking 50-50. Whatever they do after WrestleMania, whatever. I'm not worried about that now. Seth, Cesaro, WrestleMania, Cesaro gets the win. Shinsuke Nakamura is a nice bridge to that match in Tampa. Sami Zayn approached Kevin Owens and says he is the man he was looking for. Sami told KO he knows what he's been going through, so he wanted him to be a part of the documentary. Seth says it will be a huge opportunity and they'll blow the lid off everything. He said it'll do massive numbers on YouTube, and he's talking about big-time YouTubers, big-time YouTuber numbers, man. Owens says he'll think about it. Sami seemed happy with Owens, saying, that he's pretty much open to working with him in the future on this documentary. Now, I actually got news. Coincidentally, I got news on not only Sami Zayn and the documentary team, but I also got news on Buddy Murphy that I wanted to talk about with you because he was in a match with Cesaro tonight. So I'll do the Buddy Murphy thing and then I'll get into the Sami Zayn news. Have you guys ever wondered about the Aaliyah Mysterio, Rey Mysterio, Buddy Murphy pairing? How Buddy Murphy finally gained the trust of Rey Mysterio and the fact that there was a romantic angle between Buddy Murphy and Aaliyah on SmackDown that was ultimately just out of nowhere dropped with no explanation. Has anybody wondered what happened to that and why that was just something that disappeared? Apparently, Buddy Murphy has been coming up with explanations on his own, it looks like, as to what happened here. Now, in a response to a photo posted on WWE's official Instagram account, Buddy Murphy clearly distanced himself from the Mysterio family, saying, "I never needed them." He also used his response to let the world know he believes Aaliyah used him to further her acting career. So Buddy Murphy is out here trying to come up with creative excuses or a creative, logical explanation as to why WWE dropped the ball on him and his pairing with the Mysterio family. So Buddy Murphy's doing creative job. Buddy Murphy's doing Bruce Pritchard's job at this point. He says, and I quote, "Let's point out the obvious. The Mysterios used me. I never needed them. I'm beyond one of the most talented in-ring performers on the planet. Aaliyah used me to be on TV and advance her acting career. Dominic used me so he had a reason to stand by ringside. Ray was jealous that I became the new face of the cruiserweights and he was left out of the discussion. They took what they wanted and then they left me in the shadows. Sounds like my time in NXT." I love Buddy Murphy, man. Buddy Murphy's another one of those guys that is in the same discussion as the Andrades and the Blacks and the Garzas and the Ricochets and the Keith Lees of WWE. This guy is so fucking good, man. So fucking good. And WWE does not appreciate the talent that they have in Buddy Murphy. One of the best wrestlers on that roster. Out here doing God's work. Out here doing Bruce's job to come up with an explanation as to why Rey Mysterio doesn't even remember or acknowledge Buddy Murphy on WWE TV anymore and why we moved on from it without any explanation. You got to love somebody like that, man. That's the type of guy you want on your roster because he shows everybody with this response that he's fucking committed to himself. That's great. I love seeing shit like that. Actually, I love seeing shit like that, and I don't love seeing shit like that because it just goes to show you that the creative side doesn't give a shit about Buddy Murphy. Sami Zayn. Has anybody wondered what they're doing with this documentary crew? They're a big part of his act lately. Now, Sami Zayn has been followed by this camera crew for the past several weeks, and there is actually a storyline coming out of this. All the footage that they're actually filming is going to be used for a WWE documentary. Footage already leaked from Zayn's documentary crew. The footage showed a very upset King Corbin. As he spoke to Fightful, Zayn revealed that they have even more in store. Sami Zayn says that he can't wait to show everyone what they've been working on. This will actually be a WWE Peacock production when all is said and done. There's also been talk of using the footage on SmackDown instead of using it on Peacock. So we'll have to see how this situation plays out. But Sami Zayn's documentary crew, man, they're legitimately there filming for Sami Zayn. They're just not actors and they're just not props for his gimmick. They're legitimately filming for Mr. Sami Zayn. So backstage, going into hour 2, we got Edge talking to Je Uso in the back. He says he just wanted to talk to him. He says he's known him and his entire family for a very long time. He said he wanted to talk to him man to man, not like some second-class citizen in his own family. Edge said in 2015, he and his brother woke him back up and helped him. Said he doesn't recognize him walking around with his shoulders slouched and his head down playing lapdog to the big dog. Jay told Edge not to talk to him that way. He got very upset. He said Edge should spend as much time with his family now while he can. He says he won't be able to enjoy anything after Reigns gets his hands on him at WrestleMania. Edge was disappointed in the way Jay behaved and responded here. Jay reacted like he said what he had to say, but he wasn't thrilled at the man that he's become working under Roman Reigns. Edge basically pretty much said, look in the mirror, bro. Look in the mirror. Before we get into the KO show, guys, I want to check on the chat here. We are 1,600 deep in the chat. I appreciate you guys very, very much, man. Thank you for spending some time with me on your Friday nights. And everybody's probably out and about enjoying the start of their weekend, but I appreciate you guys being here, man. Super chats are open. We'll hit them at the end of the show. Get them on in. As always, the super chat at the end of the show is becoming a lot of people's favorite part of the live streams, man. So get them on in. Chat is open. We got 560 likes right now. Hit that thumbs up, man. It's free to do. Let's try and get close to 750 before we get out of here on Friday night and the post show, man. But I want to thank my sponsors for today's show. BlueChew.com is sponsoring the SmackDown post show right here on Off the Script, man. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer-lasting erections. Sound like Val Venus now, man. Listen, how many of you guys are absolutely unsatisfied with the WrestleMania build? I know you are. I can't be the only one, man. But the thing is, I don't want you guys to take out how you feel about a disappointing WrestleMania season on your wives, on your girlfriends, on your partners, man. That's why I got Blue Chew here. For everybody. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form. And it comes at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve longer, harder erections to combat all forms of ED. Blue Chew is actually prescribed online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your front door in a very discreet package. Process is very simple, guys. Sign up at BlueChew.com and you're going to consult with one of their online licensed physicians. And once you're approved, you'll receive prescription within days of your order. And the best part, it's all done online. All done online, man. And if you don't like swallowing pills, you're not going to be swallowing those big horse pills, bro. It's all chewable. All chewable. You can take them day and night, even on an empty stomach. It's going to work for you. And they're made in the USA, man. They prepare and ship direct, and it's cheaper than a pharmacy. So if you could benefit from more confidence when it's time to perform, don't know why you won't give it a shot, man. BlueChew.com for all the details, for all your important safety information. Try Blue Chew for free. BlueChew.com with code JD at checkout. All you guys got to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling, man. That's BlueChew.com, promo code JD to receive your first month free. And I want to thank them for sponsoring today's SmackDown post show right here on Off the Script. I know you guys are disappointed with WrestleMania season, man. You got to be. You got to be. I can't be the only one, bro. Anyway, moving on into hour number 2 of SmackDown tonight's The KO Show. You know what really bugs me, man? Kevin Owens got done feuding with Roman Reigns, coming out of TLC, going into the Royal Rumble, SmackDown steel cage match. And we knew he was not going to take the title from Roman Reigns. We knew that wasn't going to happen. But the fucked up thing is, we're now going into WrestleMania season. Oh, we are in WrestleMania season. And we're 4 weeks away, probably less than that now, less than 4 weeks away from WrestleMania, and Kevin Owens is conducting a Kevin Owens show with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. And he doesn't have a match for himself at WrestleMania. I don't really understand anything behind that. Kevin Owens was such a big fucking deal in the feud with Roman Reigns. He legit was brought to a main event level. He made everybody believe he was a main event talent. And what did I say? What did I say with Kevin Owens? I knew what we were getting with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. I knew we were going to get a Kevin Owens that we all longed for in the main event spot in the ring with Roman Reigns. He proved it every single time. We proved to you that Kevin Owens is a main event guy. And with Kevin Owens now, not much of anything in the WrestleMania plans. I said it then, I'm going to say it now. WWE had one thing to do, and that was follow up with Kevin Owens. It's all in the follow-up. I don't give a shit what you do with Roman Reigns. He's going to excel because Roman Reigns is at the top of his game right now. He can have great matches with Roman Reigns, even if he showed up 50% of the time. He could be half of what he usually is against Roman Reigns, and it's going to be a great match. It's all what happens after the feud is over. What did they do? They dropped the ball. Kevin Owens has been in nothing. He's got no WrestleMania match. And we're 4 weeks away from WrestleMania, and he's conducting a new episode of The Kevin Owens Show. It's pretty fucking shitty, man. It's pretty goddamn sad that Kevin Owens has nothing planned for himself at WrestleMania. Owens says it's great to be back. He said it's been a few weeks. It's been difficult for him. And he's been back. He's been back on top, only to fall short. And then he introduced Bianca Belair first, and then Sasha Banks. They sat on chairs on each side of Kevin Owens. Owens says he knows of one other instance of two wrestlers facing each other at WrestleMania while being tag team champions, and that is Shawn Michaels and John Cena. What a damn good match that was. He said if they do that, it will go a long way to cementing their legacies. Bianca Belair hasn't even began her legacy, so I'm not really sure what that means. That legacy starts at WrestleMania. He said they have to beat Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler first, though, and they came up short a few weeks ago at the Elimination Chamber. He said they both respect each other a lot, but they have some underlying tension. He said they both want to be recognized as the best. So obviously he brought up Reginald and Sasha. She said she can't help if she looks as good as she does and that Reginald has a crush on her. Let me go tell Mikaze, man. I want to see what Mikaze says about this. Belair says she's led him on, and that's why he's going to be a problem for them. Sasha said she's the Michael Jordan of the women's division, and maybe Belair can one day be the LeBron James. She said the EST couldn't have accomplished so much if they weren't for, or if it wasn't for the BEST paving the way, meaning Sasha is the best. And she is. Let's be real. So Belair got angry. She stood up and she said she respects Sasha and her accomplishments. She said that's why she chose her to be her opponent at WrestleMania. Sasha said if she was in the Rumble match, she would have stopped her. Belair said, that's what you think. Sasha then says she knows she would have stopped Belair. Sasha said she will walk into WrestleMania 2 belts Banks when I beat Nia and Shayna. Belair said she might be walking on the road she paved, but she's in her own lane. So then Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler interrupted. Obviously, they were with Reginald. Natalya and Tamina then walked out to their music, and they got new matching ring gear, does Natalya and Tamina. WWE could put all the matching gear on Natalya and Tamina that they want. That doesn't really make them a tag team. Because I know where they were before they got the matching gear, and they're not a fucking tag team. Too little, too late, Bruce. Too little, too late, Vince. It ain't going to work with me. There are no teams in that division. So stop trying, okay? So the thing here is Kevin Owens has no match, but he's promoting this match. He has no match for himself. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. I'm not digging the verbiage, man. I'm not digging the tension. The tension is not yet about them. Somehow, it always revolves back to Reginald. Now, I know Reginald is going to be a thorn in the ass of Sasha Banks here, and that's going to drive Sasha Banks to be a different way towards Bianca Belair. But the problem that I have is we are less than 4 weeks away from WrestleMania, and all we got from Bianca and Sasha is that Bianca is the EST of WWE, and Sasha Banks is the BEST. That's all we got. There's no underlying tension between either one of them. There's no reason to believe that Bianca dislikes Sasha and Sasha dislikes Bianca. First of all, you got Sasha Banks claiming that she's better than Bianca Belair. You got Bianca Belair claiming that she respects Sasha Banks and all her accomplishments. That's why she's challenging Sasha Banks at WrestleMania. And their tag team partners a week from Sunday at Fastlane challenging for the tag team championships. That doesn't sound like WrestleMania opponents, folks. That doesn't sound like a WrestleMania-worthy program, folks. Or am I on an island all to myself here in that way of thinking? I cannot be the only one disappointed with Sasha Banks and Bianca being built around fucking Reginald instead of themselves and for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Because that's exactly what it is. All Reginald, all day. And at this point in the show, this is the second segment that Nia Jax had, and she was on commentary. On what planet do we want to see Nia Jax more than once? Please. This KO show sucked. Not good at all. And this is not really what I envisioned for Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Moving on with the match. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair obviously fought Tamina and Natalya. Natalya and Tamina win in 5 minutes. This match did not matter whatsoever until Sasha Banks went to go bother Reginald, who was on commentary with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Reginald stood on the announce desk. Sasha went to go meet him over there. Reginald then ran away from Sasha Banks, ran into the ring. Sasha chased him into the ring. Then she was talking shit about him from the ring as he was on the outside, standing on the ramp. Natalya came from behind and hit Sasha from behind with a clothesline. Belair then took out Natalya. Tamina then rolled up Bianca Belair for a 1, 2, 3. So what does that mean? Everything's revolving around Reginald. I doubt Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair are going to win the tag team championships at Fastlane. If anything, this is going to anger Sasha Banks more. And like I said last week, potentially Reginald's going to turn Sasha heel, which she desperately needs right now. This babyface Sasha is not working. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the way she's speaking. I don't know if it's the delivery. It ain't working, man. Sasha needs to be a bitch. Cut the laughing. Cut the fucking funny business. Sasha needs to be direct and fucking evil at this point. She's the champion. Everything revolves around her. Bianca Belair loses on the road to WrestleMania because of fucking Reginald. Too much Reginald, too much Nia. Then we get this tag team title match on Sunday. I doubt Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair are going to win. Reginald will probably find his way into that situation again. And with Natalya and Tamina pinning Bianca Belair, WWE is going to use this as a reason to get them in a tag team title match at WrestleMania. I don't know who it's going to be against. I doubt Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defend against only Tamina and Natalya. That does not sound like a WrestleMania match to me whatsoever. That sounds genuinely fucking garbage. Maybe we see a multi-team match at WrestleMania. Maybe the Riot Squad, maybe Lana and Naomi. I don't know. I don't know why these women's tag team titles are not permanent in NXT. This is what I stated on tomorrow's show. Why are the tag team titles in this position on the main roster? They look like a fucking joke. They should be on Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. But NXT came up with their own versions of women's tag team titles, further devaluing the ones that we see on the main roster. Meanwhile, creating their own illogical bullshit down on Wednesday night. There's a lot of stupid shit happening right now as far as creative goes, folks. This Reginald, Sasha, and Bianca thing, Nia and Reginald, and the women's tag team title situation, man, it is genuinely fucking garbage on all accounts. I don't know how anybody looks at this and gets a sense of WrestleMania. Where is the one-on-one tension between Sasha and Bianca? When are we going to see it? A week from WrestleMania? This is what happens when you prolong Bianca Belair choosing her fucking opponent. Nothing is about Bianca and nothing is about Sasha. Nothing is about that SmackDown women's title. It's about Nia, the tag team titles, and Reginald. A month out from WrestleMania. Apollo Crews and Big E. The next big thing under Roman Reigns on SmackDown. Big E walked out in a neck brace. He taped up his boot, a boot cast. He wore a knee pad. He wrapped his leg up. Obviously, he was coming out, signifying that Apollo thought he injured him, but he ripped up all this neck brace and the bandages around him. He came out and he was trolling everybody, full of life, full of excitement. Big E got in the ring and said he hopes Apollo knows what he did. Said he crossed the Rubicon and opened Pandora's box and there's no coming back. He said there's no sorry to fix this. He says he's going to go Old Testament on him. He said, now it's an eye for an eye. You come here to hurt me. I'm coming here to maim you. He said he stepped in his lawn and now he has to bulldoze his house. He said he's ready to give him exactly what he deserves. He said there's no reason to wait, so come on out and get what you deserve. He yelled for Crews to come out. Crews didn't show up like the heel that he is. Big E says he wasn't surprised at all. He got dressed up to wrestle and defend his Intercontinental Championship tonight, and that's what he is going to do tonight. He said if Crews won't show up, he's going to have an open challenge here tonight to anybody in the SmackDown locker room. Corbin comes out, not dressed to wrestle. He's in a $10,000 suit, and he's got a stainless steel Rolex on his wrist that he bragged about. But he said that he wants a shot at the IC title. Sami Zayn ran out yelling, I accept, I accept. Corbin says, listen, I'm here to accept the match with Big E. Sami Zayn said, well, listen, I have it all recorded. You didn't really accept the match. You're not even out here to wrestle. So he said, listen, I'm going to take the match. It's going to be the perfect ending for my documentary. He said to Corbin, you snooze, you lose. That's how it works. Big E said, both of these guys are clowns. Whoever gets in the ring first gets the match. Sami Zayn slid into the ring, and we got a match. Sami Zayn versus Big E for the Intercontinental title. Big E wins in about 12 minutes. Not really much here. We've seen this time and time again. Sami landed a top rope sunset flip for a near fall on Big E. Looked nice. Sami told the referee that it was a 3 count after the sunset flip. Big E made a comeback after Sami Zayn slapped him a couple of times in the middle of the ring. Quick, big ending for the 1, 2, 3, and Big E retains the title. Of course he does. We're not here for Sami and Big E. We're here for Apollo and Big E. So Apollo Crews' entrance music played. Big E was waiting for him by the steel post because he figured, you know what? I'm not dumb enough to think he's coming down the aisle. No, he's going to come from the crowd somewhere. Apollo did come from the crowd, but from behind on the opposite end. He attacked Big E, gave him 2 fallaway slams, did some trash talking afterwards. Crews picked up the steel steps again and threw them into the ring and attacked Big E with the steel steps again. Big E went flying out of the ring. Crews set the steel steps up in the middle of the ring and stood on the steel steps, pretty much crowning himself again, overpowering Big E and the Intercontinental Champion. Really, really good stuff here. WrestleMania match right there, folks. Save it for WrestleMania, and Big E is dropping that title to Apollo Crews. I love everything about this gimmick. Some of you might not be feeling the accent. I'm feeling the accent. I love the look. I love the presentation. When I looked at Apollo Crews tonight, I saw a man, and this is me speaking from a fan's perspective. You know, you watched Apollo Crews in the months and the years prior. That man was fucking defeated. That man was defeated. Sat in catering. He knew he wasn't going anywhere. This is his final opportunity to prove to these people that he's a main event guy. He's certainly passing the test with flying colors, man. When I seen Biggie in the ring tonight, putting the boots to Biggie, I saw the eyes of a man that wants it and knows this has to be it. I seen a man who now is unbelievably lucky to have a new lease on life, and he's owning it. Apollo was born for this gimmick. You can tell he's wanted this. Just look at the way he behaves and the way he acts and the way he carries himself. This is the Apollo that was hidden away from us for years. I'm just glad that he's finally getting the opportunity now. And he may be crowned the new Intercontinental Champion after all is said and done. I'd take the title from Biggie. I don't know about you guys, but I'm making Apollo the new IC champ. Kayla Braxton approached Nia Jax and Reginald backstage. They were all flirty with each other. As they celebrated what happened with Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, Jax laughed at the idea of Sasha entering WrestleMania as Banks 2 belts. Reginald told Jax that maybe she should face Sasha next week for the title so she has a chance to become a double champion before WrestleMania. So now Reginald is making matches for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Nia Jax, who, by the way, is a Monday Night Raw superstar, challenging Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship. What happened to earning championship opportunities? Matches are just made out of thin air now because Nia Jax wants a match. She's going to get a match. Give me a break. What a fucking dumb rule. Nobody wants to see Nia Jax on television 3 times tonight. This is her 3rd segment tonight. Now we got Nia Jax next week against Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Adam Pearce, Bryan, and Reigns. Contract signing to end the show. Reigns was in the ring. Bryan was in the ring. Pearce moved his chair so that Roman could sit at the head of the table. Reigns told Bryan he doesn't deserve it. Bryan said, regardless, I'm going to sign it. Roman Reigns was not going to sign the contract. Roman Reigns says, you know, a couple weeks ago, I wanted to. Today, I don't want to. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sign the contract. So Daniel Bryan obviously signed the contract. And then he just sits there and he just starts peeling the fucking scab off of Roman Reigns, right? He knows how to push Roman Reigns' button. He's getting underneath the skin of Roman Reigns. Who would have thought Roman Reigns isn't a man of his word? Bryan then said, for years, a lot of people thought I was better than you. I thought I was better than you. He said he proved something last week, though, that Reigns couldn't. I made Je Uso quit. Does that make you doubt yourself? Bryan then yelled that he is now the new head of the table on SmackDown. He went on and on and on about him being the head of the table, him being the new tribal chief. He's better than Roman Reigns. I'm going to make Je Uso top. I'm going to make you top. Yada, yada, yada. Reigns took the pen. He asked for the pen from Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman took a pen out of his pocket. He angrily signed the contract and vowed to smash Daniel Bryan at Fastlane. Bryan obviously used this psychological warfare on Roman Reigns, and it worked brilliantly. Bryan told Reigns, you signed the contract, and at Fastlane, I'm going to make you tap out just like I made Je Uso tap out. So Jay took the table that the contract was signed on, threw it out of the ring over the top rope. Jay told Bryan, listen, Uso, you're disrespecting the head of the table here a little bit too much. He said, at Fastlane, I think this match needs a special enforcer, and that person is me. So Bryan looked and didn't know what to think here. Edge walks out and said, you know what? That sounds like a great idea. So he proposed to Adam Pearce that a match happen next week. Edge versus Je Uso. The winner gets to be the guest enforcer for the Universal title match at Fastlane. Adam Pearce said, that sounds like a great idea to me. Booked the match right then and there. Edge entered the ring. A big brawl broke out between all four guys. Heyman ran out of there. Edge threw Bryan away. Bryan nailed Edge with a running knee strike. And he said the stage is next at Cole for next week with Edge battling Uso to become the special guest enforcer at Fastlane. This was a great segment. Great back and forth between Bryan and Roman. Edge and Je Uso being the special guest enforcer. Rather predictable. But with Edge winning next week and him being the special guest enforcer before WrestleMania, there's going to be some fuckery, man. We didn't know where the fuckery was going to come in because I did not expect Daniel Bryan to lose clean at Fastlane. I expected him to lose, but I did not expect him to lose clean. And here we are now with Edge more than likely being set up to fuck Daniel Bryan over something. And then Edge is going to have Daniel Bryan get into the main event because he was a little too hasty at the pay-per-view. He got a little bit too rambunctious at the pay-per-view, allowing Roman Reigns to retain the title, which would cause Daniel Bryan an unfair outing at Fastlane. He gets one more opportunity. They add him to the main event of WrestleMania, and we get a triple threat match with Bryan, Edge, and Reigns to close out night 2 for the Universal Championship. That's the way it's going to be, man. It's the way it's going to be. This was, it wasn't a terrible SmackDown. It had its okay moments, but they're not really doing much to get you excited, man. Outside of the Reigns, Bryan, Edge stuff, which primarily has been Reigns and Bryan, and then the Big E and Apollo stuff, all the other stuff on the show. And I'm sad to say, man, the Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks thing is not really clicking with me right now. They have deviated away what should really be important and everything else but Bianca, Sasha, and their back and forth. And the SmackDown Women's title is more important than what's going on right now between those two. Apollo, Big E, and Roman Reigns, Edge, Daniel Bryan. Those are the only things in all of WWE right now that feel WrestleMania worthy. And that's pretty fucking pathetic, man. That really is pathetic. Guys, the super chats are open. Get them on in. We'll be hanging out towards the end of the show here. We're going to hang out and do the super chats. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. We are at 659 likes. Let's try for 750 before we get out of here, man. So hit that thumbs up. If you guys have come for the review, I appreciate you. If you guys want to hang out, I'd love to have you. Super chats, let's get into them, man. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. And if you missed any of the other videos on the channel, make sure you guys go and check the description. Everything you need is linked right there. We got a brand new episode of Critiques and Connoisseurs coming up tomorrow, man. It's the ultimate Zinfandel. We, Jason and I, are reviewing and talking about the Ultimate Warrior. Drinking some Ultimate Warrior limited edition wine issued by WWE Wines. It's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. Let's get these super chats in, man. Get them on in. If you guys want to get them on in, chat is open. Jacob Donnelly. $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. So are Sasha and Bianca fighting over a championship or for the custody of Reginald? This feud has been so poorly put together. Jacob, I love you, brother. We are usually on the same wavelength. I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that way. I am so glad I'm not the only one that feels that way. Harry Johnson in the chat. I see you, bro. Were you pumped to hear that Bjorn Strid Speed from Soilwork will be singing on your brother's new track? I got the track and the vocals on my fucking phone right now, man. I can't wait for you guys to hear Speed singing on fucking my brother Frank's new song, man. Oh, so good. So good. Jacob, thank you for the $5, brother. Big Ben, $24.93 with a $1.99 super chat. What's your top 5 songs currently? You the man, JD. Bro, I can't even tell you, man. I appreciate the $2, man. That's going to be a little bit for me to think about, bro. I don't have a top 5 right now. I listen to a lot of things. I mix it up a lot, man. Mr. Cake, $2 super chat. It's that again where Vince nerfs SmackDown's momentum. Vince shouldn't be nerfing anything, man. These shows should be great every single week. I don't really get it. Somebody in the chat said they just announced Biggie versus Apollo for Fastlane. Fastlane is fucking everything up, man. I tell you, Fastlane is fucking everything up. What an unnecessary waste of fucking time is Fastlane. Holy shit. Cobra Kaiser with a $2 super chat. Nia and Reginald, live sex celebration at Mania. Why would you even donate telling me something like that, man? Issa's in the chat. Demon Diva in the chat. She says, fuck Fastlane. I wholeheartedly agree. Fuck Fastlane. What an absolute waste of time. Apollo versus Biggie should be saved for WrestleMania. Who loses? Apollo can't lose. Does Apollo win the match and then win the title and then Biggie wins it at WrestleMania in front of fans? Or do we get another fuck finish? All these matches are gonna have fuck finishes at Fastlane. Because they decided to put a pay-per-view 2 weeks before WrestleMania. Thank you, Cobra Kaiser. Mr. Cake with a $5 super chat. Lots of goons saying Daniel Bryan will ruin WrestleMania 37 like he did WrestleMania 30 and 31. To them, I say, ha, ha, ha. Well, the IWC is full of a bunch of irrelevant, unintelligent fucking goblins. They actually ruin the entire concept of wrestling talk. Daniel Bryan only makes the WrestleMania main event better. Daniel Bryan's not winning the Universal title, folks. He's not. Vince wanted something bigger. You're getting it. Daniel Bryan was supposed to always be there. So why are you complaining? Edge versus Roman shouldn't have even been a thought. It should have been Edge versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania and Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I was right from the very beginning. Now you're just getting a variation of what I talked about for 4 months now. People are fucking ridiculous, man, really. Toxic Banana with a $1.99 super chat. I was rewatching Mania 28 instead of SmackDown. Great pay-per-view. Hope you enjoyed yourself, man. Paul Wu, $3 super chat. Does not feel like WrestleMania season JD. No, it feels like something that should be booked for fucking Backlash. This fucking WrestleMania season is absolutely the worst ever. Then I got some fucking idiot on social media. Oh, look at this guy. He's trying to be edgy and cool by shitting on WWE. Bro, the WWE themselves are not edgy and cool. I don't know exactly what you're watching on TV every single week, but if you get a sense that it's WrestleMania season, you may be the biggest WWE cocksucker of all time. Do you got stocks in the company? If not, shut your fucking mouth. The shows suck. The creative is the worst it's ever been. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Thank you, Paul Wu. And no, you're not a goon. Mr. Cake, a $2 super chat. Update, he got denied. Of course he did. Why would WWE release Andrade? They could release him, give him a 90-day non-compete. Doesn't really fucking matter. You know when they'll release him? A day before his contract is up. That's when they'll release him. Because if he lets his contract expire, he's got no 90-day non-compete. If they release him, then he's got a 90-day non-compete. He's either going to AEW with Zelina. Imagine that. Someone told me today that Zelina was signed by AEW. I'm not sure if that's legit or not. I hope so. Can you imagine Andrade in AEW against Pentagon and Phoenix, man? Jesus Christ. Mr. Cake, thank you, man. Cool Jags. $9.99. SmackDown was a 50-50 show. Some good, some bad. Brian Reigns edge, all fantastic tonight. Biggie's promo made me feel like he's going to be a main eventer. Banks and Belair storyline is meh. The last thing I wanted to see tonight was my hole. Cringe as fuck. Thank you, Cool Jags. Mr. Cake with a $2 super chat. AA split is, in my opinion, the worst thing WWE ever did. American Alpha. Bro, if American Alpha is the worst thing that they've done to you, I don't know, man. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's the worst thing ever, but it's certainly terrible. Chad Gable at King of the Ring 2019 is just proof of what he's capable of, especially with a match with Almas. I would love to see him at New Japan or at AEW. And did I mention Chad Gable is an Olympic wrestler? Bro, you don't gotta tell me anything, man. I know what Chad Gable's capable of. Just watch his work in NXT, man. Hollywood guy with a $5 super chat. Sad to hear that Andrade wants to be released. Such a great talent. I fear for Rhea Ripley. Bro, I fear for everybody, man. Can you imagine WWE calling up Adam Cole and Adam Cole being treated like Aleister Black? Adam Cole legitimately is, in my honest opinion, one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet. If Adam Cole is treated any other way but a WrestleMania main event guy, then they fucked up. And if I was to take one guy as a number one draft pick in the entire industry for my own wrestling promotion, it would be Adam Cole. I watched NXT last night with him and Finn Balor, man. I'm looking at him, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Am I watching the modern day Shawn Michaels? He looks exactly like Shawn Michaels. Vince should be all over that. I don't know. Oh, but he's a vanilla midget. You clearly have no fucking brain. And you should shut your fucking mouth. Mr. Cake, $5 super chat. I went at it with someone today who said the NXT 2018 group were mid-card at best and not special. And I'm like, did you see the reactions they got in NXT? Bro, whoever you spoke to should be immediately blocked on social media. They clearly have no fucking IQ whatsoever. The Big Tony Show with a $5 super chat. Hey, JD, big fan. What would it take to have you on the Big Tony Show podcast? Also, can you call my friend Ryan a goon? Thanks, bro. Ryan, you're a fucking goon. And Big Tony Show, I don't really do podcast sit-down interviews, man. I do them rarely. I did my boy Vinny Vegas and the Pounding the Meat podcast, and he called me in a good mood. But Vinny's awesome, and he's been a fan since the very beginning, so I gave him the opportunity to do it. But other than that, I don't really do shows, man. To be quite honest with you, it would have to be mutually beneficial to me to do a show. What am I going to get out of it? Am I going to get new fans? Am I going to get some new traction on the channel? What type of questions are you going to ask? If you got 5 subs, I'm not interviewing for your podcast. I'd realistically like somebody on the same level as me, size-wise, to do the interview. Other than that, I just don't find it to be beneficial to me, man. I'm a businessman. Come on. I'm gonna fuck this name up. I don't know what the fuck this is, man. Harshvardhan Ingal with a 200 Japanese yen super chat. I don't know what the fuck that is, man. That intro is such a banger. Suits perfectly for the arrival of the savior of the IWC. Maybe have some talk with your buddy Bruce and save us from atrocities called Monday Night Raw. Mr. Ingle, thank you, brother. I quite enjoyed the intro myself. Chillin' with McMillan with a $5 super chat. If we only lived in a world where Triple H could buy NXT from Vince, take all of his talent and staff, past and present, and do his own thing. Triple H is just as guilty as the rest of them, man. He knows exactly what everybody has waiting for them. It's like you go to school, man. When you leave high school and you go off to college, parents don't give a fuck about you. Go do what you want. Just take care of yourself. Don't drink and drive. Don't do drugs. Whatever. Triple H don't care. Parents are off having a good fucking time. They're on vacation. They're sitting back on the couch on a Tuesday night drinking a glass of whiskey and a bottle of wine. You don't fucking care. Think Triple H fucking gives a shit? There's nothing he can do. Francis Loop, $5 super chat. Doesn't Dax Harwood and Chad Gable have each other's cell phone numbers instead of talking to each other on Twitter? They gotta be best friends, right? I would think so, man. I think they all are very cordial with each other. Mr. Cake with a $10 super chat was watching a Motorhead Lemmy interview earlier today. And he said companies offer contracts to people they screwed over and they don't realize it until after they signed a new deal. I don't know, man. I think I made myself perfectly clear in the Chad Gable discussion. Not a fan of Lemmy either, or Motorhead. I think they were very obnoxious. That's just me. Kaz with a $10 super chat. Hey, JD, hope you got good vibes. I got a serious question. You said on your Twitter, if CM Punk does not sign with AEW, they will fail. Do you mean as in general or just the pay-per-view? Kaz, listen. I don't believe I have to explain this again to people. I'm not saying AEW is going to fail if they don't sign CM Punk. That would be absolutely ludicrous of me to say. I mentioned if AEW doesn't sign CM Punk and deliver somebody on the level of CM Punk for the hype that was this big announcement at Revolution, the announcement and the hype surrounding Revolution will fail. Never mentioned about anything AEW failing. But I do think Tony Khan has CM Punk stored away. The ace up the sleeve is CM Punk. I do think it's coming when fans are in attendance. Raging Girl Gamer with a $5 super chat. No message. What, I don't get a fucking message? Don't be shy, bro. The Big Tony Show with a $2 super chat. One more thing. Can you call Antoine a goon? Antoine. Sounds like a goon fucking name for sure. You're a fucking goon, Antoine. Florious Nation with a $5 super chat. Your thoughts on Balor Cross, Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Raquel Io Shirai. And should Balor come out as Demon King against Karrion Kross? Yes. And that's quite the takeover there, man. But is it enough to fill 2 nights of takeover? The answer is no. Just like the women's tag team championships in NXT, this 2-night takeover is a complete waste of fucking time. I said this on tomorrow's show, man. What exactly can't they do in one night that they need 2 nights of takeover? This one I can file under the long laundry list of offenses called AEW effect. You don't think NXT knows that they're moving to Tuesday night the very next week? They want one last big fuck you to AEW, so we're going to do a takeover on Wednesday night to compete with Dynamite. With commercials. Takeover with commercials. It's great. I don't know why they just couldn't do one takeover with 7 or 8 matches. No, but we need 2 takeovers to do the same amount of matches. Are there even 8 matches that you fucking give a shit about outside those 3 for takeover? No. No. And if you do, you're bullshitting yourself. Give me a break. Jericho 8131, $10 super chat. Reginald has been shoehorned into this Sasha Banks Bianca feud and making it feel entirely meaningless. Sasha and Bianca should be looking for weaknesses in each other to expose, not arguing about a worthless hack. I agree, Jericho. I absolutely agree. Jamie Robertson's with an Australian $5 super chat. Demeter Bullion and Trent Carson will make you iced coffee in Australia at Gloria Jeans better than Starbucks in the USA. Listen, Jamie, I'm not really a big Starbucks drinker. I'm more of a Dunkin' drinker, to be quite honest with you. But I would not be surprised that Gloria Jeans is better than Starbucks, man. And if Demeter Bullion and Trent Carson want to make me iced coffee, man, please, light and sweet. Preferably nitro-infused iced coffee. That's my thing. And if it's nitro-infused, just black, please. The nitro-infused black coffee is nice and smooth, where you don't even need milk. Florious Nation with a $10 super chat. In my opinion, TakeOver Stand and Deliver is my WrestleMania outside of Reigns, Bryan, Edge, Cruz, Biggie, and Cesaro Rollins, which is from SmackDown. Nothing on Raw excites me whatsoever. Dude, Monday Night Raw shouldn't even be represented at this point at WrestleMania. And Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre is not a main event WrestleMania worthy. It's not. It's middle of the road, mid-card. Give me a break. And how many people want to see Drew McIntyre as the WWE champion again? I know I don't. If I'm going with one guy in that match, I'm going with Bobby Lashley. You know who makes that a main event match? Brock Lesnar. But I don't think we're getting that because WWE's given us nothing to get excited about this WrestleMania season, and I doubt Brock even wants to be a part of this fucking steaming pile of shit. If you were booking Balor vs. Cross, who goes over? I don't know, man. Cross had a meeting with Vince McMahon on Monday, right before Raw. Why? I don't know. But I know Cross met with Vince McMahon. Clearly, he wants Cross on the main roster. Having a blonde bombshell girlfriend like Scarlett Bordeaux clearly doesn't hurt either. Vince wants another blonde to play with. Bruce is getting antsy. Apparently, I was told that Bruce is bored of Lana. WWE, in all honesty, in all realistic fashion, I think WWE has quite the conflict here. If Cross is due to be demoted to the main roster, I don't see him winning. But if he does win, Triple H has quite the dilemma on his hands. If Cross beats Balor for the NXT Championship, is there anybody on the NXT roster right now that legitimately and realistically could be placed in that position to take the title from Cross? The answer is no. The answer is no. There's nobody on that NXT roster that could beat Karrion Kross legitimately and realistically. Pete Dunne, no. Johnny Gargano, no. Tommaso Ciampa, maybe. But he's fucking around with, what's his name? Timothy Thatcher. Not really what I call Tommaso Ciampa-esque. Now, if they bring back an Aleister Black, or if they bring back a Keith Lee, those are the guys I see could possibly be the one to take down Cross. But if Cross is being promoted to the main roster, I don't know why Vince McMahon would want to meet with him. So they got quite the dilemma on their hands. We also have, as far as Cross goes, the idea that Triple H really wants him in NXT. He should have automatically been brought to the main roster after his injury. He should have been in the Royal Rumble. He should have never went back down to NXT. Like, you don't belong there. That act doesn't belong there. I don't know, man. I don't know what NXT is going to look like at the end of the year, really. NXT should have Black, Andrade, Garza, Keith Lee, all back down, Ricochet, all back down in NXT. They should all be back in NXT. JD23 with a $5 super chat. Love how legit both Apollo and Biggie look in their feud right now. If WWE can make more superstars look as good as the shows, would be better off for it. Of course they would be. Of course they would be. Chris with a $4.99 super chat. What's up, JD and OTS fam? Cruz and Biggie for the IC title has been announced for Fastlane. The match belongs at WrestleMania, no question. WWE premature ejaculating, as always. It's what they do best, bro. Indigo with a $2 super chat. Much respect, JD. Another awesome live stream. Indigo, thank you, bro. Mr. Cake with a $2 super chat. Edge, Brian Roman is going to be a masterclass story-wise. I agree. Roman in himself is a masterclass storyline-wise. Just great. Demeter the Doggy bullying with a 201 Australian super chat. CNT, what's good? I'll invite you to my Big Boy 13th. Whatever. The Doggy bullying. Thank you, bro. Daniel Easterday, $5 super chat. Raw this week broke me. I couldn't watch SmackDown. WWE is unwatchable. I'm so thankful for your show. Daniel, thank you, brother. I barely get through these shows myself. Envied with a $4.99 super chat. JD, bro, that peanut butter whiskey had me lit at work. Bro, I'm lit every time I drink it. Chris with a $4.99 super chat. Shots and drinks are on me tonight in the OTS venue. Love the OTS family. Can't wait for the CNC tomorrow. Another episode of Off the Script. Chris, I don't know what $4.99 is going to get you. You may get yourself a nice seltzer with some lime at the bar. Step it up, clown. I'm only kidding. Nobody's going to be able to afford the Maxwell's Reserve #1, man. The vintage reserve. It's better than you, and Maxwell knows it. Stinky Toffee 12 with a $1.99 UK. Can't wait for a takeover with commercials. Yeah, I know. I know all about it, man. DeVar Davis with a $5 super chat. I heard Titus is really upset about his top guy not being in catering, Apollo Crews. Well, listen, bro, Dana Brooke got promoted. Dana Brooke is now master napkin folder and executive chef in Titus Catering. I don't know what else you want, man. Dana Brooke does it all. I also heard that Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott were also hired as runners. So Titus is very well equipped in catering, bro. Don't worry about it. Pariah from Society, $5 super chat. No message. Don't be shy, bro. Raging Girl Gamer with a $5 super chat. I just wanted to see what you would say if I didn't say anything. Jaxo, 23, with a $4.99 super chat. No message. Jaxo, why are you being a shy bitch, bro? Thank you for $4.99. Ryan Mansueto. Ryan, $4.99 super chat, no message. Don't be shy, man. Bradley Xavier with a $2 Australian super chat. Do you think Samoa Joe will ever be WWE champion? Let him get back in the ring first, and I'll give you a better answer. As of now, no. That's a guy. That's a guy. Back down to NXT. You want to take Karrion Kross, put the title on Kross. Who's going to beat Kross? Samoa Joe all day long, bro. I don't see Kross losing. I don't see Kross losing at all, man. Whether it be a fuck finish or something along those lines. I don't think Kross should lose on his way to the main roster. Period. Like, who could... Bronson Reed, maybe? He's a guy that I just thought. Bronson Reed? But he's not in a position to beat Karrion Kross. I mean, come on. That's it for the Super Chats. That's it for the Super Chats, man. We're all out of Super Chats. Bradley Xavier, thank you for the $2 Australian here on the podcast, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's a great review. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. on this channel with Off the Script episode 368. We got a lot to rant about. NXT tag team titles introduced in the women's division. 2 nights of TakeOver. Andrade asking for his release. The WrestleMania card that looks more like a fucking Backlash pay-per-view. Just awful, man. It's just awful time to be a WWE fan. Pariah from Society, $5 super chat. Great podcast tonight, JD. Helps me get through work at night. Hope everyone has a great night tonight. Thank you, Pariah. Appreciate you, bro. Hope your shift at work is going well, man. Guys, tomorrow, Off the Script, 5 p.m. on this channel. 1 p.m., Critiques and Connoisseurs, episode 3. We're talking about the Ultimate Warrior. Should be great. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, man. We are 18 away from 750 likes. I know you guys can do it. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JDfromNY206. If you missed any of the other videos on the channel, go and check them out. Links are down below in the description. Bonfire.com for your t-shirts. Patreon.com JDfromNY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. You don't want to miss any of the content on the channel. I will be here all WrestleMania week long, breaking my balls for you guys, man. Should be great. Other than that, man, I'm about to get out of here. You guys know what time it is. Issa, have a good night. I just got your text. I'm glad Roman is a fan. I'm glad Roman is a fan, bro. Love it. I'm a fan of Roman. Not that Roman. You're Roman. Anyway, guys, I'm getting out of here. You know what time it is. Give me those guitar emojis in the chat. The Mustang's parked right outside. Needs a fucking wash. It's dirty. But the windows are down. Music is up. I got my cold beverage. You guys know what to do, man. I'll see you on Off the Script Saturday. Critiques and Connoisseurs tomorrow as well. 1 p.m. on their channel. Go and subscribe. I'm out of here, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow for episode 368 of Off the Script. See you guys later.